All right, peace and black power family. I want to welcome everybody to another NCRBGZ Productions. Today we got a nice show lined up for the family. The name of the show is Black Nationalist versus Integrationist. We're gonna jump into this topic. Basically, we're gonna deal with the Umar Johnson video when Roland Martin invited him on the show. And we're gonna break down that video and we're gonna discuss it. Cause from that video, what I get is we have a black nationalist, which is Umar Johnson. Then you have the integrationists, who are basically the panel members who was on the show with Roland Martin as they antagonized the brother. So peace, Black Power family. I want to introduce, the vice president, Jason. Let him introduce. What's up, man? How you been, bro?
Peace, family. Peace, everybody. Thanks for joining in the RPG production. And like I said, we got a nice show tonight, about the confrontation on Umar Johnson, how he was attacked on basically trying to uplift our black people. People that try and come out and do things like this, we're always going to have a negative side. Even the negativity is the same people that look like you. Sometimes we deal with issues like that. So at the same time, this brother has done a lot of work. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of stuff for our black people. Everybody has their issues. I like Umar. I don't take nothing from him. You know what I'm saying? Good or bad, but I appreciate what he has done good for the people. You know what I'm saying? The information he does have, the studying he's achieved. I look up to that. As far as the backlash and how they just came at him, they could have had somebody up there that was on his side. But as you can see, they was just getting on him. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make him contradict himself. Basically, you know what I'm saying? So it's messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you got good and bad publicity. And like some people say, all publicity is good. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm pretty sure he opened up a couple of people's eyes. You know what I'm saying? With the things that she's doing, and with the money issue. Now that the money issue, him not getting to school yet and wondering where the money is, that's another topic. But my opinion, as this brother is still trying to uplift our people and still has that goal on his mind, and that's the number one goal. Like I said, until I see otherwise, I don't see nothing wrong with what Umar is doing. As far as the money thing, I don't see if he took the money, if he ain't, that's a whole nother topic. I don't know all the topics about that. So, but as far as them attacking him, all black leaders have been attacked to the point where they've been murdered. So that little thing on the TV, a lot of our black leaders go through a lot worse than that. But we just being seen what they're gonna do to us. We've seen it, you know what I'm saying? As far as history, we know what we're up against, man. It's like that's what we gotta deal with. We gotta deal with this. People fighting what we're up against, saying what we're doing isn't right. Why should we help our black people? Why should we do this? Why is anybody else doing that? Why any other nationality helping their own kind? So until you can tell me why another nationality themselves, I don't see you should be coming at me or anybody else that's trying to help black people uplift themselves to the point where we're not being murdered in the street, killed, and you know what I'm saying, all the things that's happening, being locked up at a fast rate. All these things are happening right now. I don't see I mean, 50%, 60% of the prisons are African Americans. Like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not majority of the world, so how we filling up the prisons? So that's a whole nother topic. You see what I'm saying? So other than that, like, I appreciate Umar coming on the show, defending himself. And I believe he represented himself a good way in my eyes. They lied on him on certain things. He had to make certain lies come up clear. I mean, but it's always gonna be something. And I don't want to hold the whole show up. I'm working on something on my rental property, so I'm trying to get my little 2 cents in before my phone cuts out. But I appreciate everybody for joining the show, and I'm gonna keep listening. You know what I'm saying, for the time being. Like I said, that's just my whole 2 cents. As far as Umar, like I said, we're gonna always get backlash anytime you put one step forward and put your body as a target. I mean, when you do that, this is what you're putting yourself up against. And that's a brother, I believe he's ready for that. He's prepared for this. Like, he's one of the brothers who studies our history. So he's preparing for what he's coming up against.
All right, that's what's up. Appreciate that. Al Tariq, what's up, man? How you doing? Starting point.
Hey, what's going on, brother, man? Hey, I'm loving the topic tonight, man. I've been watching this thing for since it aired live the other day. And well, my take on it real quick though is that first and foremost, I can't stand when black people come at Dr. Umar Johnson just as that, as a doctor. They want to question time after time after time where this man got his education from after he's done stated it over and over and over that each college where he received each degree, 6 degrees that this man holds. But every time he come on our platform, everybody want to question it like he been lying. He lying. That's the controversy, the big controversy that's hanging around him from day one is his degrees and validating his doctoral degree or whatever. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I watched that show live, and then I seen it about 2 times after that. Kept rewinding and kept going back, trying to be neutral, right? Because I ride with Dr. Umar Johnson and the teachings that he stand on. But I tried to have a neutral ear, see where they may have took him, out of content or whatever. Then after the third time watching it, I came to a conclusion that they never took him out of content. The whole panel, including Roland Martin, the whole panel from the beginning had it in their mind that they was going to challenge him at every turn. They were going to say things, knowing how passionate he is about his walk and our people. They was going to say things to get him out of character, and to ruffle his feathers to where, as intelligent as he is, to get him to display what they want to portray to white America as the angry black Pan-Africanist, right? And some things that he said, they would shoot back at him, but they would only take a small piece of what he said. So one thing that he said was, name me one, and listen to what I say. He said, name me.
Don't go too far into it, because I'm gonna play the video. We're gonna go through.
Okay.
Listen, I'm gonna play.
I can quote it for you word for word because I done watched it that many times.
Listen.
But hey, look, I'm gonna wait till after you play the video, and then I'll come back at the end. All right.
Now, what I'm gonna do is, Al Tariq, I'm gonna play the video, and we're gonna stop it, and then we're gonna break it down as we going through the video. All right.
Hey, that's even better.
So that's how we're gonna do it. All right. Thanks, fam. So look, off gate. I want to add some context to this conversation. The name of it is Black Nationalist versus Intergrationist, right? So first, we need to pull up the definition of these words so we can understand the words in the terms that we're using, right? So I'm gonna share my screen right fast and pull up these definitions, and I'm gonna read them to the family. It ain't gonna take long, it ain't gonna take long. Y'all let me. I hope it can be seen. Black nationalism advocates a racial definition or redefinition of national identity for African Americans. There are different indigenous nationalist philosophies, but the principle of Black nationalist ideologies are unity and self-determination. Again, Black nationalism advocates a racial definition or redefinition of national identity for African Americans. There are different indigenous nationalist philosophies, but the principles of Black nationalist ideologies are unity and self-determination. That is separation or independence from European society. All right. So that's what Black nationalism is. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the definition of integrationist. And this is from Merriam-Webster dictionary. Integrationalist is a person who believes in, advocates, or practice social integration. Again, integrationalist is a person who believes in, advocates, or practices social integration, right? So now we have the definition of these two words. So now we know exactly what these words mean. And now we can get into it, right? Because let me stop sharing my screen. All right. Because this is a lifelong journey and battle that has been going on in the Black community for a long time. You can go back in history and you can see different leaders that had different points of view on this subject. All right. In my eyes, Martin Luther King Jr. was an integrationalist. Malcolm X was a Black nationalist. In my eyes, the way I see things. Now, everybody have their own perspective in which they see things. But I can take this argument back to them because I believe that one of them was a Black nationalist and the other one was an integrationist. And we see this battle, not only with that, W.E.B. Du Bois and I can't think, man, I can't believe I forgot his name. This battle, it's gonna come to me. This battle been going on. This was a battle in the 1900s with W.E. Du Bois and actually Marcus Garvey. But that's one who I was thinking about. But Marcus Garvey and W.E. Du Bois had this split. Then Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. This same Black nationalist versus integrationist thing has been a plague, and it's a battle within the Black community that has been going on for a long time, right? So what I'm gonna do is, y'all, I'm gonna show the video. I'm gonna play the video, right? But y'all gotta bear with me because I'm gonna try my best to make it so y'all can hear the video, and then I'm gonna stop it at a certain point, and we're gonna break the video down, and we're gonna start discussing what was going on. So y'all give me a second. Let me screen share. All right. Hold up. In the wrong thing. Done it again. I think I got it now though.
All right, folks. Dr. Umar Johnson recently was on 105.1 FM out of New York, The Breakfast Club with DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God. During the interview, Johnson talked about a whole range of issues. It led to him being the talk of Black Twitter last week. And a lot of people were questioning his educational credentials.
Now, people ask me, what can we expect from a Donald Trump White House for Black America? And the answer is real simple. You can expect exactly what you got from a Obama White House. Absolutely nothing. Black people know they're not American, but they will fight like hell to protect that identity because they don't want to be identified with who they really are, and that's being African. As long as you have a skill, you can always feed your family. But if all you got is college degrees, you might end up in an unemployment line. I'm a psychologist. Ain't too many black people running around looking for a psychologist to reveal all the skeletons in their closet.
All right, folks, joining us right now, Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome back to the show. First and foremost, it was amazing looking at this whole reaction. I mean, I'm sitting here, you know, again, people asking all kind of questions, things are blowing up. And so many people jumped on saying he's not a real doctor, okay? Where did you graduate from and you got your PhD?
My undergraduate education was from Millersville University. 3 degrees, political science, psychology, master's in school psychology. Subsequent to that, Pennsylvania certification as a school psychologist, which I've been for almost 20 years. After that, I got my educational leadership master's degree and principal certificate from Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I earned my doctorate degree from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, American Psychological Association approved program, one of the top psychology training programs on the East Coast. 6 degrees in all. And anyone can lift up the telephone and call and verify those degrees.
All right, am I back? Tariq, can you hear me?
Yeah, you back, bro.
All right. Now, first off, I want to stop right there, because off gate, he asked Dr. Umar to basically present his credentials. Now, I have watched Roland Martin show a lot. I have watched it a lot. And when he have guests up there, he do ask them their credentials to a certain extent. But the way and the manner in which he worded that question with Dr. Umar as far as his credentials was as if you are not certified, as if you are not actually who you say you are. That's what I get out of that. So off the gate, I get like they're trying to bag him in a corner. That's just my personal opinion. Tariq, if you can go ahead if you want to speak on that part, you know, and then we'll go to the next section.
Yeah, I want to speak on that part. So he do ask his guests to verify their credentials, but I've watched Roland Martin show a lot as well, and I've also seen Dr. Umar Johnson host Roland Martin show while Roland Martin was out. I've also seen him come on Roland Martin show before. That's why in the beginning of the broadcast he said, "Welcome back." Now he played a clip from Dr. Umar Johnson on the Breakfast Club. And he played that clip to show some things that he was talking about. And one of the things that he wanted to highlight, which that's the main part he put out there, was what Dr. Umar Johnson had to say about a Barack Obama presidency. Now, if he played that clip, he could also went to another clip that showed Dr. Umar Johnson for the 10,000th time verifying his education. Where he got it from, I done watched it so many times. I knew he was going to say Millersville College, and I knew that the other 5 degrees were going to come from all Pennsylvania, right? So if he played one clip, I understand he want him to say it live on his show, but he's already done that before. And I got to tip my hat to Dr. Umar Johnson for being patient, because I know the brother is sick and tired of being sick and tired of having to verify himself to his own people. You know, that's something that we expect others to keep. Like if he went on doggone Fox News or anything like that, you would expect them every time he came up there to say, once again, for the people who was listening that may not have seen this before, verify your education. And then he would probably have just as much patience and verify his education. But every time he come on your show, or you done seen him, and the 3 people that's on the panel, they've already seen him as well. So that's one thing. Now, I'll wait till you get further into the video before I comment on anything else.
Now look, I'm gonna throw this in there. Richard Spencer, the guy from the alt-right, was on
the alt-right.
He was on this show, right? Now let me ask you a question. When he first started his conversation off with Richard Spencer, was his tone the same way as it was with Dr. Umar? Or was it a different tone?
Not at all. Not at all. A totally different tone. And like I said before, when I was about to go too far in, they set the stage because they know how passionate Dr. Umar Johnson is, and they know that he's already coming in defense mode. They're just trying to pull it out of him early so they can get the type of show that they're looking for.
Okay. All right. I got a dagger for you, but I'm gonna wait because it's crazy. I'm telling you. But look, I'm gonna stop it right. All right. So look. All right. So we don't play that. So now I'm gonna share my screen again. Y'all got to bear with me because I really don't know how to share my screen and play videos where you can hear what's going on and I conversate at the same time. So y'all got to bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. Maybe eventually I'll get this worked out completely, but I don't have it. So y'all bear with me.
So when you see folks who question your degrees, your response?
It's because my narrative is a whole lot different from the average mainstream Black scholar. I don't parrot the narrative that the American social order wants Black scholars to parrot. I tell the truth. I don't scratch unless I itch, and I don't dance unless I like the music. And because they're not used to having someone with a traditional education posit non-traditional views, people will automatically start to question his credentials. How did he get this far believing what he believes in? Well, you have to play the spook who sat by the door. When I got accepted into those 3 universities, they didn't know what I believed in. They didn't know what I stood for. But as time went on, it revealed itself. But I'm unapologetically African, so I'm not really concerned with what people think about me personally. I have a job to do, and that is to awaken the sleeping consciousness of African people, not just in America, but all across the world.
One of
All right. I just want to say that the brother's very sharp. He articulated himself very well at that point. At this point, I do feel like Dr. Umar was very calm and collective. I also feel like Dr. Umar went there knowing that he was going in the fire. He went there knowing that he wasn't going to a friendly place. He knew this, and I felt like at that point he was very calm, and he just was answering the questions, and he was just being blunt and unapologetic about his stance as Dr. Umar is. That's my conjecture on that part right there.
Okay. What I want to hit on is that when Dr. Umar came there, he already knew the panel. So you got one gentleman that is semi-neutral, leaning somewhat towards Dr. Umar's philosophy. Then the other two, he already knew what they was about. So if you hear Roland Martin, any reporter can tell you that Roland Martin was talking for the other two people that was on the other side of Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson was answering not to Roland Martin, but those other two people. He was talking to them as he spoke. So yeah, he was calm, but the things that he was saying was that he have a type of demeanor that's different from any other, Black nationalist that's educated, highly educated. So he was already telling them, look, I know I'm different, and that's why y'all can't stand me. So that's why he was talking. So Umar Johnson wasn't talking or responding back to the question that Roland Martin asked straight from Roland Martin. He was already talking to the people on the panel.
Okay, that's a good perspective. All right, let me see. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep rolling. Hold up, let me do this before I do anything.
One of the things that you said during the interview, you said that Mandarin was one of the official languages in South Africa.
Yes, sir.
And others said you were dead wrong.
Yes, because I didn't clarify that I was speaking of it being an official language in the public school system of South Africa. So I should have clarified that Mandarin is an official language in the Republic of South Africa's school system. It's not an official language in the country. It's an official language in the school system. And I was speaking of schools, but I didn't clarify that. So that's my responsibility.
Also, during that particular interview, you talked about a variety of issues that also got people talking. One of them dealt with your views on interracial marriage.
Yes, sir.
And so
I had to stop it before we get a little bit further because it's about to get heated. It's about to get turned up. Now with that, this is what I see. I see cherry picking. I see that on the Breakfast Club interview, certain things that he may have misrepresented or said hastily or wrongly, they're basically Roland Martin is basically bringing it up. He's doing his job. That is his job, but I feel like it's like, okay, the whole point of it is you said something and it might have not been completely correct. So we're gonna give you a chance to correct it, but it was like I want to point out, because the worst thing a small person, somebody that think they very educated or know they educated, hate to be corrected. Some people can't stand to be corrected, and the best way to get certain people who, especially those that feel as they are very intelligent or very smart, is to correct them publicly. Because some people can't take on criticism or correction lightly, and usually that's what makes smart or educated people tick, is when somebody is basically correcting them publicly. And that's what I feel like was going on with that situation.
Yeah, I agree. And then Umar Johnson came right back with his education and let him know that I was speaking about schools when I said that. So you would think the common sense in people will understand that he's talking about schools, and he didn't think he had to clarify the difference between the public school system and the actual doggone place. But we always know that they're gonna cherry pick anyway.
All right. So here we go. We're going again. It's about to get heated up now, though.
So, and so explain that for folks who did not hear it.
Certainly. Simply put, any black man who is with a woman who's not an African herself is going to have a difficult time getting respect from me. I believe black men need to be with black women. The black family is under attack. Only 1 out of every 4 black women gets married. The black woman is last likely to get married. She's the last married, the first divorced. We have what? 2/3 of our children being raised by working class and impoverished single black female led households. The destruction of a nation begins in the home of its families. And if we want to save black people, we have to save the black family. And in order to do that, black men have to commit themselves to black women.
So when you talk about not getting your respect, so if that's the case, you're saying President Barack Obama to get your respect because his dad married a white woman?
Oh, not at all.
Would Harry Belafonte?
Not at all. I want to be very clear about something. As Pan-Africanists, the product of an interracial union is an African. I have heroes who are biracial. Some of the grandfathers of Pan-Africanism were of mixed racial ancestry. You don't blame a child for how they got here.
But I'm asking you this here. Harry Belafonte has a white wife. No respect for him?
It would be very, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your social status.
So no. I didn't say social. I'm talking about the one who put the work.
Right, but you put him out.
All right, I have to chime in now because Roland done started stuttering. And if you watch Tariq Nasheed, once Roland starts stuttering, you know what time it is. So once he started stuttering, I think that's when I really feel like everything is changing right now. I feel like the script was already laid, but now it's really changed because Dr. Umar was just explaining basically that it's not your fault if your parents your mother or your father was white and you had a child and you're a byproduct of an interracial relationship or marriage, you're still black. That's the way Dr. Umar was going with that. But Roland was like, that ain't the way I want to go. I want to know, do you respect these men? Now, Roland, like Al Tariq said, he had Dr. Umar on his show before. Not only did he have him on his show before, when they had that Baltimore panel discussion, Dr. Umar was one of the speakers that was on that panel discussion that they had in Baltimore after Freddie Gay got killed. But he didn't show Dr. Umar on TV, but if you watched it online, you see that Dr. Umar was up there. So he already knew Dr. Umar's stance on Barack Obama, because at that time Dr. Umar was talking about the inclusion. What he said he said the inclusion where they I can't believe I can't think of it right now. But he was saying how they fooling us, making us feel like we're included, but we're really not included. That was the more of it. But at that time, he was on that back then. This was at least 2-3 years ago. So Barack was still in office. So the fact that he keep mentioning Barack lets me know that it's a bigger agenda with this. And it is an agenda, because we all know Roland is a part of the boule. And I'm going to save that, though, because a lot of things tell itself. The later and the further this video go on, when you start watching eye contact, you really get to see a lot of different things. But so from my point of view, this is when I feel like it's being shown to the world right then and there that no, this is what this is about. We're trying to get you to say something or bag you in the corner so you can say something about some icons and other people's eyes as pertaining to them being married to somebody of their different race that are not black. So that's where I felt like the vibrations and the energy in the room completely changed right then and there when Roland started stuttering. All right, I'm gonna keep moving.
Now, no, I'm asking you. So, Harry Belafonte,
Yes, sir.
Sidney Poitier, Julian Bond, Vernon Jordan.
And you're naming all them to say what?
No, these are all African American men who have
done some good things.
No, who married white women. But you said any black man who marries a white woman will not get your respect.
Can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
And what I'm telling you is this: I don't care who you name. I don't care how much work you did for black people. Your greatest commitment to black people is being committed to a black woman. It is still a contradiction. No matter how much you think you did for the struggle, if you really were concerned with black people, you would have committed yourself to a black woman. So it doesn't matter how successful they are. It doesn't matter how great you may claim them to be. At the end of the day, you didn't think enough about your own people to marry a woman who looks like you.
Frederick Douglass.
Yes, sir. An ancestor of mine.
So when you say ancestor, what does that mean?
Let me break it down.
Because again, some have said you tried to claim that you are a descendant of Frederick Douglass.
Okay, so let's deal with that.
So hold on one second. Here's a statement from the family. Let me go ahead and read this, please. The family of Frederick Douglass has received numerous inquiries about Umar Johnson questioning his relationship to Frederick Douglass. There have also been questions about his legitimacy of his PhD and the handling of the donations he's received for his school that he is promoting. We can tell you with 100% certainty that he is not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. With that being said, Mr. Johnson is very careful not to bill himself as a descendant, but he doesn't correct people when they refer to him in this way. He calls himself a blood relative, which is a nebulous reference designed to make people think he is a descendant. We have researched his explanation of being a blood relative to the great abolitionist. Some of the information he provides is accurate, but an extremely important piece of his explanation with regards to a documented relative of Frederick Douglass is false. The information he recites correctly is from the public record, so his knowledge of our family ancestry is far from definitive proof.
Two things there. One, he's not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. Okay. I would concur with that. All right. But then, two, you also heard that some of the things he says is correct. So the question becomes, he's either related or he's not. Okay.
So are you related?
I'm about to answer your question.
Okay.
If you allow me to do that. I am a blood relative of Frederick Douglass. My name is on the family tree. We have a family reunion every 2 years. What they're talking about, I want to make sure you're clear. They're talking about whether or not I come through the loin of Frederick Douglass, which I do not, nor have I ever claimed. Okay. I have more videos on YouTube than any other scholar. I speak around the world more than any other scholar. Show me where I've ever said I was a descendant. I've only claimed one thing, kinsman. How am I kinsman? If you ever read any of the autobiographies of Frederick Douglass, he talks about growing up on Tuckahoe Creek with Cousin Stephen. Cousin Stephen is Stephen Bailey, Dr. Umar Johnson's 4 times great-grandfather, whose grave I just visited last week. I go every year. Okay, that's my 4 times great-grandfather. He married my 4 times great-grandmother, Caroline Wilson Bailey. From that union came my 3 times great-grandfather, George Washington Bailey, the first black public school teacher on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. He married Grandmom Annie. They had Grandmom Caroline. Okay, she had Grandma Vivian. Grandma Vivian married a Spanish-speaking Cuban immigrant, Grandpop Cicero. They had Grandmom Ida, who's still alive, who married James Johnson, who had my father Jamal, who married my mama Barbara, and from that union I was born. I am a blood of Bailey. I am not married in. What they're talking about is strictly descendancy, something I've never claimed. Am I a kin? Do I directly come from the loin of the first cousin and potentially half brother of Frederick Douglass? And the reason I say potentially, the slave master who owned our family, a white man named Aaron Anthony, raped Frederick's mother and raped Stephen's mother, my ancestor. And there's significant evidence to suggest that. Some people could still argue, though, that they were not brothers because it's not conclusive. Fine, throw that out. I'm still a kinsman because I come through the blood of his first cousin.
You talked about
All right, I'm back. I'm glad he cleared that up because I think this whole question of is he kin to Frederick Douglass has just been cleared up. I had already knew that he said that it was the Bailey, he Bailey, but I think that cleared that up, and I'm glad he cleared that up. Jason, I see you, bro. Anything you want to say, man, or have you been paying attention?
Yeah, man. They're tearing my flow up, man. Yeah, but I'm listening, man. Everything's good.
All right. Altari, you still here?
I'm here, man.
All right. Any comment? Oh, you good?
I'll comment real quick. Hey, it's clear that the man has researched his history of his family tree, all the way back, and he dropping names in order. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of us that don't even do that, don't even know that. I know I'm one of them. All right. So this man is dropping names in order, and he brought it all the way back to himself, right? And then he even cleared up where the first cousin of Frederick Douglass, potentially his brother, but then he cleared that part up. But the family statement clearly shows that they have all disrespect for this brother because he's still active in our society today. For one, they never dressed him as doctor. They said Umar Johnson, then they said Mr. Johnson. They would never address him as doctor because they even had in there about his degrees. Man, come on, man. Like, how many times is people gonna sit up here and talk about this man's education? That's crazy. But I'm glad he cleared it up on Roland Martin's show for the people who may be against what he stands for, and he cleared it up with integrity.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move forward. I think. Yeah. Let me see. It's interesting though how all this is how they making these statements and the family coming out like that. That's interesting to me. Made me wonder what is their motive. But
But again, respect. You respect.
I don't talk about respect. I get tremendous respect from my people.
I'm not talking about that. Do you respect Frederick Douglass?
Obviously, yes.
But he had a white wife.
He did.
So that's what
I'm gonna clarify.
Why is that an issue? Why is that? If you put in the work and you have the history, who cares who you marry?
I already answered that question, and I told you I don't care how much work you put in. If you don't commit yourself to a black woman, ultimately you wasn't totally committed to the struggle.
Even Frederick Douglass.
Even Frederick Douglass has to be criticized, as I did on the Breakfast Club. Now it has to be put in context. He didn't marry the white woman until he was an old man. After his wife Anna Murray Douglass of 50 years, a blue-black chocolate woman through whom all my cousins were born. He was an old man when he did it, but nonetheless he did it. And yes, he has to be criticized on that, because a black man needs to be with a black woman, and it is a contradiction. I don't care how much work you think you've done for black folks to not commit yourself to a black woman.
Hold tight 1 second. I got more questions when we come back.
I would argue the reason black men marry white women is because they wish they were white themselves. And having the white man's prize, his queen, is a psychological symbol to myself that I am equal to him.
We're back with Dr. Umar Johnson. In that particular statement, the family also addressed this here. You talked about taking over the buildings or the land of a black school that was shut down.
Yes, sir. St. Paul's College.
And you were raising money for it. First of all, how much money has been raised, and what's the status of that project?
Well, St. Paul's has been sold. Approximately 3 to 5 months ago, I was told by the auction company in charge of the sale that it was been sold to a developer.
So how much money was raised? What the people gave? All people gave. How much was raised, and what's the status of that?
$700,000. And the status is we're still looking for a school. And the status is my start date for FDMG will be 8/21/18, or if at all, it may be delayed to 8/21/19, which is the anniversary of the Nat Turner War.
We say look.
All right, on this part right here, especially regarding the school, I want to say that I do, as someone who has been donating to this school since 2014, I do feel as if that's a valid question, and I do feel as if Dr. Umar haven't been answering that question. I have watched different shows or different YouTube videos wherein that question get asked and he don't answer it, or he'll block people, or he may I done seen it, like he usually would never answer that question, and that figure of 700,000, I'm not for sure it ain't more than that. That's just my personal conjecture. I feel as though it's well over $1 million. That's just me personally, because we don't know about the donation, because at one time everybody was sending money straight to him, because he said PayPal had a freeze on that over $300,000. They had froze it, and he wasn't able to get get the money because of some forms wasn't filled out completely, and it was telling people to mail the money directly to the address. Now I do remember St. Paul, because St. Paul is in Virginia. Is in Virginia. That's where St. Paul is located at, and actually that's where I met Dr. Umar, was in Norfolk, Virginia, when he was coming through Virginia, and he was going through the different schools in the areas, and he was mentioning St. Paul, but I do remember how they end up selling it and whatnot. But as far as the money is concerned with the school, I feel like that was a valid question, and I still have a question mark as if to the amount of money that he is saying that he raised about the school. As far as Frederick Douglass, earlier when I was talking about W.E. Du Bois, it was Frederick Douglass who I couldn't think of his name at the time, that was the black nationalist and the Intergrationist back in the early 1900s. Before it was W.E. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. It was Frederick Douglass and W.E. Du Bois, and also some more people, but I just can't name all of them. But that's that. So as far as Frederick Douglass, and the fact that, to me, the purpose of the black man is to protect the black family and the black woman. So you have a black man on national television that's saying that if you are black, you should marry a black woman. And as black men, that is our job, to protect the black woman and the black family. So I don't see how anyone can take what he said as far as marrying a black woman, and that's being our #1 priority, and feel as though that, and I don't now listen, I don't feel as though Roland Martin in particular had a problem with that as far as a black man marrying black women. I think Roland Martin was more focusing on the black men that have done good things throughout their career in their life for the black family that was maybe married to a white woman. I think that was just his main focus with that. But I will tell you about Jack and Jill if I feel like it and get into it, or some of these fraternity organizations that black people are in, wearing the lighter or the brown paper bag scares a lot of that, but I don't really want to go that route. But I do know in some of them secret organizations, you do have this white and black, or the darker or the lighter complexion. You have it played out within the organization. I'm gonna just put it like that. And it's a lot of people that talk about it, and there's also people that I know that, you know, there's that. Altari, you want to say anything?
Yeah, man, of course. So, first off, about the school. So, I say it like this: all across this country, all right. I haven't donated to the school at all. I would love to, and may need to look into it. But let me stand on this side real quick. All across this country, every elementary school, middle school, high school, these kids are bringing home. I just want to put this out there. Kids are bringing home Girl Scout cookies. Let's sell them. Let's sell them. Let's sell them. And ain't nobody questioning where this money going, and you know, what is it being used for? It might be used for the detrimental of black people, far as we know. But we pump this, and we take it to our jobs and everything, and have our coworkers buy our babies cookies. So we say. Then, secondly, I don't question this man's motive. I don't know how much money he raised, but at the end of the day, even if it's $2 million, right? Let's wait till the end, when like Roland Martin did. He asked what's the status of it, and Dr. Umar Johnson gave a time frame. He actually pushed that time frame back 12 months from his original date that he wanted to have everything completed. So he gave us a time frame. So I say let's let that pan out, and then if he has some malicious intent, then we can see him trip over himself in 2019, 8/21, I think he said. We'll see him backtrack from there and give us another explanation of what's the status of his school. So I say, hey, let the man ride until he ain't got no more road to travel. Then we can criticize him of what he's doing and where he's trying to go.
All right. Now I will tell you that he already gave a time frame initially when he first started. So that already done been moved back. So
but if
somebody like me who been following him for a minute,
I've been following him. I just haven't been donating.
Yeah.
The time frame that he initially gave, we do have to understand. You have an organization, and I have one as well. When you're doing something and you have little to no help, you always gonna have to push it. It's always gonna look like it's at stalemate. It's always gonna look like it ain't moving nowhere.
Yeah.
And like he said before, now, and this is the last point I hit on. If as a whole, if everybody was so concerned, then TV1, Roland Martin, Jay-Z, all these other, LeBron James, all these other people who claim they so doggone it, Colin Kaepernick, everybody who's so into Jesse Williams, so into black people, they will be donating something. And I tell you right now, 2 or 3 of the people that I just named, if they donated anything up to the caliber of what they've been donating to, Umar Johnson probably have a school today.
Yeah, that school could have been. I do agree with that, and I do know that one time he had an NFL player that was about to invest heavily into the school, but the whole scandal came about. But I have to be balanced. You have some people that's in Atlanta, Georgia, where they started home. They started a school in their home, You got some of them that have started private schools and just out of their homes, out of less money than what he had. But I understand this is his idea. He have his grand idea, and he have the way he want to roll it out his way. I understand that, and that I'm not trying to knock. But what I will say is, I know in Chicago they selling schools left and right dirt cheap. You know, one time he was talking about possibly opening up the school on the continent of Africa. You remember that?
Yep.
He was talking about how he has African millionaires over there, but it didn't pan out. So I understand the logistics and everything with that, but I have to be honest, and I have questioned it myself. And I think I have the right to question, especially when I be donating at least 2-3 times out the year to the school. And I still donate. I have never stopped donating because I do feel like it's a worthy cause. But at the same time, sometimes the rubber got to meet the road, man. And like it's got to you got to put up and shut up. And that figure of $700,000, I know because I've been following these on GoFundMe campaigns. This ain't just his second GoFundMe that he had up now. So, but my whole thing is, you know what I'm saying, I just hope that, you know, the brother, that's one issue that I feel like I'm glad that at least he gave a figure on national television, but I have seen people press him on that issue and didn't get a figure. So I'm glad that he at least gave a figure. Now, even though I just don't, but at the same time, I'm not trying to count that man money. But look, let's go ahead. Move forward.
For a school, why not start a charter school? I mean, you can start a school.
Because charter schools are owned by the state, and I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe what is to be done for Black people must be done by Black people. Why do I want a charter school?
So you want a private school?
Exactly, independent school.
Lauren.
So the question of interracial marriage, I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
come on, man. You're too smart for this. We got 43.
Smart for what?
We got 43 million Black people in this country.
And that means
over
what?
190 million.
Man, I'm so glad you stopped it right there.
Now, can y'all hear me? Yeah, okay, I think I'm good. All right, listen, the reason I stopped it is because I want you to watch. I don't know if you watched this all along, but I said it was certain things that I want people to look at.
Yeah.
Look at the
body
brother.
language.
Look at the brother. The brother, not the attorney. The other brother.
You talking about the dark skinned brother?
Yes. Look at the other brother. I wish I would have stopped it earlier. Now, two things. First off, the first person that commented was a Black woman. Now, to me, that in itself is just crazy. It's mind-boggling to me. That off gate, the whole while he's talking about black men
Black woman.
marrying Black women and how 1 out of every 4 Black women may get married. They the last to get married and the first to get divorced. So this Black man is up here talking about Black men need to marry Black women, and his first opposition on that point comes from a Black woman.
Well,
look,
I think
hold on, one more thing. And if you look at her fingers, tell me if you see a ring.
All right, so check this
out. Look at her fingers to see if she's married. And I'm gonna just stop there. Go ahead, Tariq.
No. I was just about to say, check this out. Look, man, and I know, you know, it's just me, you, and Jason here. I don't know who watching this live on YouTube, but I don't know who gonna watch it later on. You already know. I really don't care. But I'm gonna tell you this: it was 3 Black men on that panel, and Roland Martin made the 4th, and Dr. Umar Johnson made the 5th. That woman has no interest in marrying a man. Now, if you look at her body language, why is she slumped over, leaning forward, and the first thing out of her mouth was very sarcastic to put him on the defensive right out the gate. She was going, black man, black woman, come on now. Come on now. Let's be realistic. Come on. And then why is he leaning far over like a dude? Really, if a dude was in an offensive stance, he coming at another dude. He leaning to, trying to, get in a posture to say, let's fight. This woman leaning over, the other two gentlemen sitting straight up, calm, poised. They thinking about what they're gonna say. And she, like you said, she the first one to speak. But I will say again, she has no interest in marrying a black man, a white man, a Chinese man. She has no interest in marrying a man. Now, she probably do have a spouse. They don't believe in rings the way they roll. But go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Now listen, and also I'm gonna put it out there. Look, fuck it. The brother on the right on the left of that woman, on our right when we see, I don't think he like women.
He don't.
And listen, the more you look at it, you can watch and you can tell. Watch the facial expression between him. I'm telling y'all ahead of time. Fuck it. I ain't gonna code it. Watch him and Roland Martin catch eye contact when Dr. Umar say something to the brother. I'm gonna call him a brother. But when Dr. Umar says something to him, watch the way he look at Roland Martin now. Check this shit out. Watch the way he look at Roland Martin. And at first, Roland Martin don't catch it. But he look at him a second time. And watch Roland. Watch the way Roland stop it. And listen, I got something to go over here. I got something a little further, but I might not say this shit live. But listen, watch this shit.
Why you say that live?
Watch this shit. That's all I'm gonna say is watch it, man. Because you can see eye contact and off gate. Umar, when Umar was, when Umar was talking about the when they gave us the freedom rights in '67 for black people, Umar misquoted something.
He did.
Yeah, but listen, he misquoted it to bring up the homosexuals.
Yeah.
Listen, he was he had to get it in there, but he misquoted it because that's what he was trying to get in. But I'm gonna just take a video. JC, you want to say something, man?
Nah, you good, man. This might be one of our biggest shows, man. I love this, man.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this right. All right.
You gotta take Hood off the big screen. There you go. Hey, we can't hear you, man.
What's wrong with him, man?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
I want to laugh too.
Hey, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, brother.
We can't hear you, man. What's going on?
He died laughing for something.
A Morse code or something?
Yeah, he in one of them secret societies.
If a black person, a white person get married, a black person, white person get married, one can't understand the other person's struggle. You've seen Tim Wise, right? You've seen Reverend Wallace. You've seen white people who understand racism very well.
That doesn't mean they're going to do anything about it. The other thing that is obviously true is they understand racism when you see things like the murder of Medgar Evers, like the murder of Martin Luther King. They understand racism. And what did they do about it? They understand us gaining just fine, and that's why murder happened. Based on what? So the idea that somehow a white person can't understand our struggle, I could care less what they understand. I'm asking you, what have they done systematically to improve the opportunities of white folks? He did not tell me that. Yes, you did tell me that. He did not tell me that.
You're going to tell me that guys like Tim Wise and Reverend Wallace don't understand race in America?
Tim Wise?
They don't understand race in America?
He articulates racism, but what has he done?
There are no white people that understand race in America. There's no white person. There's no white people understand race in America.
There's not a white person. There's not a white person in America who has ever worked to systematically eliminate the white privilege that they benefit from vis-a-vis your oppression.
You're lying.
You know.
You're lying.
All right, I'm back. All right, now.
Hold on. What the hell you was laughing at?
Huh?
What you was laughing at?
Man, y'all can't see this shit, man. You gotta look at this shit, man.
You're crazy.
Listen, I tell you, man. But listen. All right, now the woman off gate, like you said, it was more than trying to rattle his cage. She's a feminist. All right. I hope y'all, if y'all don't know that, she's one of them black feminists.
All day.
And so she one of them ones on that end, right? And then so her whole point is she's bringing up Tim Wise. Now, Dr. Umar asked her about the white people, what have they done? And she said Roland Martin told him. Roland Martin ain't say nothing.
He said nothing.
He said, so obviously that tells you right then he had rattled her cage, right? So then she started naming Tim Wise and certain token white people that can talk that talk, but actually, what are they actually doing? Now, this Tim Wise cat, I got shit on him to say that he ain't as he ain't what people think. He talked bad about Francis Quest Wesley. He talked bad about our great ancestor. So there's some things with him too, but with that, I already said what I had to say about her. So you can go ahead out to read, but you heard the little punk call him, say you're lying.
Yeah.
He called him a liar off gate, right? So go ahead, y'all go ahead.
Oh no, the only thing I was gonna say real quick, Umar Johnson was already rattled off of what you said because she was the first one to speak. And he was already upset at that right there. So that's why they end up going back and forth.
Yeah, all right. I think Jason left, but so off gate, it was interesting. Here we go. Let's go ahead and share some more. Let's see. All right. See if I can get this.
Shit, man. I'm chill out, man. Ain't that trouble, man. At one time, I be down went and just as much as me. I'm back down there, man. I'm looking at 2 felonies right now. What?
Hey, Hood, you got to mute your mic, man.
I had 5 single bags, man. Dang, boy. I'm glad I got the fuck out of here.
Lord have mercy.
I got it. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Y'all live out in South Korea now, so. For real? Yeah. The hell you went back around here?
All right, there you go.
You hear me? Hey, look, check out the eye contact now. The eye contact is it started. I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Check the eye contact. Check the eye contact.
Yeah, real quick before you hit play, what I wanted to put out there real quick is that what Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about. It don't take a rocket science. If anybody would give him the benefit of the doubt, they will already know what he's talking about. When he said there's not a white person who's worked systematically to improve the black struggle. What he was meaning was not a white person who already joined a Black Lives Matter movement or a civil rights movement and they just jumped in board because they thought it was right. He ain't talking about that. He talking about, in my opinion, he talking about name a white person who went out on their own and started a systematic movement to help the black struggle.
Yeah, I'm with you. And also, I think he put them in, said them as a collective, meaning white people in general. Because she was pointing out one person, and he was like, he wanted. But let's go ahead on because It's already almost 10:40. So hold on, let me do this. But check the eye contact out now. The eye contact, hell.
To say that. No, everybody, 1 second. Several things I don't allow. I don't allow the N-word.
I'm about to say you got to rewind that.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Okay, listen. Now this is where I feel like the confirmation. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit with the eye contact came up. Roland Martin would not look Umar in his face when he was talking about this. Roland Martin kept his head down, and he would not look Dr. Umar in his face when he was telling them about no name calling. Now I'm gonna save that for interpretation. You can interpret it the way you want to interpret it. But we as men know that if somebody come in your house and somebody do something in your house that you deem is disrespectful, you look that nigga in his eye. I mean, excuse my French. I didn't mean to say the word nigga. But you look that person in their eye and you tell them what they can and cannot do in your house. You do not allow somebody to come in your house and do something that you feel like or you say is something that you cannot do without looking them in the eye. And Roland never looks this man in his eye when he says this. So I'm gonna leave that up for interpretation. But let me go back.
People in America.
Eugene.
We're not going to go there. We're not. I haven't called me a liar, and you're cool. Well, it's a fact that
watch
you're
how
lying.
you talk.
It's a fact that you're lying.
We can't see it.
I understand you.
You got to share your screen.
There are 90 million people in America.
Eugene.
We're not going to go there. We're not. I haven't called me a liar, and you're cool. Well, it's a fact that you're lying. It's a fact that you're lying. It's a fact that you're lying. I understand you. To say that.
No, everybody, 1 second. Several things I don't allow. I don't allow the N-word. I don't allow coon. We can talk to one another and disagree, but I do not use racial epithets against black people.
That's fine, but he called me a liar.
No.
So the language needs to be watched on both
racial
sides.
epithets will not be used on this show.
And that's fine.
By anybody.
But how we talk to each other.
You can say whatever you want, but no racial epithets will be used on this show about black people to black people. Eugene, your question.
So from your paradigm, from your perspective, Civil Rights Act isn't an act of white folk stepping up on behalf of black folk. Current criminal justice reform legislation movement isn't a current act of white folk stepping up on behalf of black folk. Folk that funded the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s isn't an act of white folks stepping up and having black folk. I'm sorry, as an American, because I define myself as an American, an African American.
Sure you do.
I live in a country that moves forward together. And I say that as a Republican. We move forward together. Yes, we have individual struggles. Yes, we have struggles. Yes, we have. Yes, no. Yes, we have. We have systematic.
Finish in 15 seconds.
We have systematic struggles, and together as a country, moving forward to defeat those struggles.
Really? So based on what you said, I want you to give me examples of white folk, not individuals, but systematically. Excuse me.
Why can't they be individuals?
1 second.
I know you can't wait to
1 second
finish.
answer.
Let me
1
finish.
second answer.
Can I finish?
Go.
Okay, I'm going. Okay? You cannot name anything systematically done ever in this country by white people to equal the playing field for black folks.
The Civil Rights Act, Congress literally sits behind us. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act.
Are you aware?
All right. Man, I'm lost for words. Right now, they saying the Civil Rights Act is what white people have done to collectively help black people, but they changed the word from black until minorities, if I remember correctly. That's what they changed it from. They changed the word from black to minorities. So once they changed the jargon from black to minorities, that's why you can have all these other groups of people that are benefiting from the civil rights bill. So the fact that they keep harping on the civil rights bill lets me know that they really have no other answer to what the question Dr. Umar asked. They don't have an answer. Because when you keep talking about the Civil Rights Act or the criminal rights bill that they talking about passing, they passing that criminal rights bill for them damn people that's on meth, for them white people that's on meth and stuff, and that shit they doing right now that they feeling sympathetic for them. But when it came to us, they didn't pass no crime bill. So for me, they have no combat. Now, I do feel like Dr. Umar did change from at first he said white person to then till he made it systematic. But I think he realized in his argument that you might can point out single white people that may have done something to help. But as a collective, meaning the group of them together, you don't have it. And the brother that's talking, he was stuttering. He not pronouncing his words right. He said he defined himself as an American. Hey, there you go. I mean, you define yourself as an American. There you go. And the worst thing about it is you have a lot of people that think like that. Not only him, like the young woman as well. You have a lot of them people that think like that. That's in America right now. So you know, on the bigger conversation, we as black people must have a civil war within our own race. But it may not have to be a civil war as far as bloodshed, even though in Haiti, that's what they did. They got rid of all the Uncle Toms before they had their revolution. They went on and took care of them first. But we may have to have a civil war as far as mindset and who we deal with and associate with on a daily basis to come up to kind of like weave out the bad apples within our own race of people. Go off with it.
Yeah, well, what I was listening to from the beginning, Dr. Umar Johnson was saying systematically from the beginning. The time where he switched it up and said not individuals is because all they were naming was individuals. But from the beginning, he was saying there's not a white person who has worked systematically to improve the black struggle.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and finish this out. I don't even know. Well, I do want to finish it because the last 20 seconds of what he said. But to me let me see how much longer we got because we really don't even have to finish it. I think everybody else have seen the rest of it. It's like 4 minutes. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. I'm gonna finish it up.
We can't hear it.
You say you can't hear it?
Nah, I can hear you. I can't hear the video.
Yeah.
Arguments that you made that I tend to agree with is that if you don't marry a black woman, then she can never support and comfort and value your day-to-day struggle as a black man. That being said, I do think that the level of the rhetoric that you use in regard to your Pan-Africanism is difficult for many of us, quote, in the mainstream to get our arms around. But this issue about black men and white women in the civil rights struggle is not a new discussion. My mother was a civil rights activist in Chicago, and she would often complain privately that, one, you can't sleep black, you can't sleep white and talk black, if you will. And that's always been in the American struggle, African-American struggle with ourselves. Yes, the other thing is that we struggle with our own psychology about self-love and otherwise. And if we get our arms around that, that does make sense. Okay?
But you would have to say that you know 190 million people.
But you're being too...
One second. You would have to claim that.
Individuals don't matter.
You'd have to claim
No,
that.
go ahead, respond. Go ahead.
And I agree with my brother's
Scott.
comments. Brother Scott, he brought up the Civil Rights Bill. But what he did not talk about in relation to the Civil Rights Bill is there were two words included in that bill that ultimately served to take away from black people what that bill was intended to deliver. They added gender and they added sexual orientation. And as a result of that, white women and homosexuals have been able to strip black America from the intended gains of the Civil Rights Act. So there was still racism in that bill if you will study that history.
So Umar, your question was, has anyone black ever systematically done, has anyone white ever systematically done anything?
Systematically. White America.
So LBJ would be the answer for that, because that's the government.
No, I don't think you heard the question.
That's a systematic move.
No, you didn't hear the question. No, you did not. No, you didn't. You're so quick to defend white folks that you're not listening.
No, I'm not trying to defend white folks.
45 seconds, so reset the question and give the answer. Okay. Got 45 seconds. Let's get an answer.
The question was, what has white America done?
Right.
Not individuals. Systematically. You won't even let me finish.
Yeah, because
you're that in love with white folks, you won't even let me finish.
Finish literally 20 seconds.
There is no bigger system than
20 seconds, I'll finish. And in 20 seconds, I would say that the panel that you have here, who are extremely intelligent, do not represent the everyday black man and woman struggles, and then because of that, they cannot articulate.
And you represent 43 million people in this country? I don't think so.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us.
Okay. With that being said, that was the end of it, family. It ended. The only thing I really want to touch on is what he said as far as the panel not representing everyday black people. I do think that the attorney, Mr. Scott, I do feel as if he understood, and if they would have kept letting him talk, he would have sounded like just a TV version of Brother Umar. He just because Mr. Scott is an attorney, and like he said, you can't sleep white and talk black. So and then he started talking about the psychosis of black people himself, but that feminist wouldn't let him keep talking. She wanted to basically take over the conversation. So and when you watch the show, a lot of the time she is the dominant person on the show. When I'm talking about dominant, I'm talking about dominant from head to toe. But that's all I wanted to touch on as far as the way it ended. Because I actually agree with the attorney. It's just that the attorney ain't gonna go. He's not as vulgar as Dr. Umar in the way Dr. Umar is presenting his black nationalist. But the attorney, he said he tended to agree with him. And the more you was listening to him talk, You can tell that he agreed with Dr. Umar. And the way the other two panel members was looking when the attorney was talking tells you something as well. The way they was like, oh, look at him. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell, you know, it is what it is, but it's a classic example of black nationalists versus integrationists. You can go ahead and say something.
All I was gonna say is that if she would have let him talk when she brought up Lyndon Baines Johnson and saying that he didn't work for the people systematically, Dr. Umar Johnson was about to say before he said she wouldn't let him finish his statement. He was trying to tell her that he don't care what people say, is what they actually do and what they work on. So no matter what, I could put like he said with the civil rights bill, I could put in a bill and leave it at that and let the people hash it out. But unless I continuously work on it and continuously make a movement, nothing will ever change. It will just stay at stalemate.
Yep. You know, so I just look at this as black nationalists versus integrationists. That's where we at. You have two different mindsets. One that we gonna separate and do for ourselves. But I want people to understand when you hear black nationalists, automatically you equate black nationalists with white nationalists. So you think because you have white nationalists that black nationalists is the opposite of white nationalists. But you got to understand, white nationalists started because they felt like they were inferior to us. They felt like that they were just better than us. That's where white nationalists started from. Black nationalists is not that we feel like we are better than white people. It's just that we feel like we need to take care of our own. We need to love ourselves. We need to marry within our own race. We need to take care of our own children. We need to, as some people say, pull our pants up by our bootstrap. Like, that's all black nationalists mean. Just because you're a black nationalist does not mean you hate white people. It's not about hating white or Chinese or any other race of people. It's about loving yourself, loving your race, and putting yourself first. That's what Marcus Garvey all talked about. Everything else, when we come in our meetings, we are black or African. That's what we are. Everything else we choose to be. But we don't choose our race. That's something that you can't choose your race. That's something that you are born with. Everything else we choose. People choose your name. We choose our religion. We choose sometimes what we eat. Most everything is done through choices. But when it comes to our race, we can't choose that. Now, we may can choose who we have sex with, but at the end of the day, we can't choose our race. So black nationalists, because a lot of people think that black nationalists rivals white nationalists, and it's from the same tone. It's not from the same point of view. White nationalists was because they felt like they was inferior and they didn't want us to have sex with their women. So it was all about keeping us away from them because they thought we were 3/5 human, right? That's what they thought. But when the Gaga came out with the Gaga, wow, I'm gonna leave that alone. But the 3/5 human really means it's 5/3 because we're 1 part human and 2 part God, and I'll leave that for a different conversation. But the black nationalist is not like white nationalists. So it doesn't mean that you're anti-white. Now the integrationists are people who just basically say, okay, we all need to integrate and mingle with one another and then, you know, move together collectively. Now, my thing is this. That's, to me, before I can worry about my next door neighbor, I got to take care of my own house first. So until black people take care of ourselves, we can't be around here worried about other people. We got too many problems in our own house to be worried about next door. You know, so that's just my personal take on that. So with the as far as the black nationalists versus the integrationists, I'm on the side of black nationalists, and that's all it is. Now I don't dislike anybody that want to integrate because you do have black people that may marry white people, you know, and as long as they don't compromise their blackness, okay. You know, because when it comes to love, what I will say is when it comes to love, you can love somebody of the opposite race. But black nationalists mean is that I'm going to choose to date somebody of my race. That's a choice that you can make. Now, not meaning that you can't conversate or deal with people from other races, but as far as who you're going to marry or who you're deciding that you want to build a family and life with, you choose that. You choose that partner. And black nationalists just saying, look, man, we're going to choose people that's of my own kind. Somebody that I can sit down at night and talk about certain things and they can understand what I mean and where I'm coming from. Then also, you don't want to put your children in a bad situation wherein you have children that, because you know how it is when you have mixed kids, you know, we're in this black and white world. So you're too light to be black, but you're not darker, but you're too dark to be white. So you have these mixed kids in bad situations as far as, especially in America, because a lot of times we as black, we don't, I mean, like, you know how you got the light skin and black skin thing, man. It's something that is a part of our community. It's something that's a part of us, you know, and we have to deal with it. So my thing is, you don't want to put children in situations, I feel like, where they don't have to be in. And that's just my personal take on it. So, you know, I'm all about black love, black power, black unity, black excellence, black reproduction to the fullest. And you know, we should commit ourselves to black women. As far as this whole, as far as the whole interview with Dr. Umar on Roland Martin show, I do feel like they had a purpose and a point, and I do feel like it's some organizations and people that are starting to come after Umar. Don't be surprised if they come after Umar financially and try to get cases on him about this money. It's they coming after him. They've been throwing little pot shots at him all along, but he's still here. He still ain't going nowhere because the information that he talk about is really resonating with the people, and he's good at what he do. So he know what he's doing and he's speaking facts. But they are coming after Umar. That's what's going on. And I look forward to it, y'all. Not only that, it's gonna be more stuff going on beyond this. This is just the start. The Root done an article after he was on Roland Martin show. They done an article about his degrees and talking about how they couldn't find him, but yet other people done found all that stuff and they posting it all on social media. How you can get contact with all this degrees, his dissertation that he had to write and he published. All this stuff is starting to be is floating around social media, but yet the Root done an article on him, basically more defaming him. Now a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but fuck it. Listen, I don't care. I'm about to burst some people's bubbles. A lot of people think that the Root is black owned. Well, you need to do some research. And a lot of people think that TV One is really completely black owned. Well, people need to start doing some research because it's not completely black owned, and you have black people that work at TV One that complains about racism. Now, if you think I'm lying, go and check out Dr. Boris Watkins. Dr. Boris Watkins, he done a show about the interview with Dr. Umar Johnson, and he talks about people who have worked at TV One who have came to him personally complaining about the racism that is going on there and how it's not completely black owned like it's led to believe. Now with that, I'm gonna pass it to Al-Tariq. You got anything to say? Jason, if you're still here, if any of y'all got anything to say, let me know. You know, because I'm gonna get right to shut it down.
First and foremost, all I wanted to say was that was a good interview. If you look at it both sides, but TV One, what are they on? Like, are they on cable, satellite? or just internet?
No, they on cable.
I can't find them on cable. What's that like?
They on cable. If you got cable, you get them on 184. I got them. Down here is 184. You can get TV One. It's up there with Fuse, Oxygen, the channel that Magic Johnson is the front for, but he don't really own that channel on BET. I think they with Comcast, man. I think Comcast own them. Because that's what all MTV, BET, them all the channels that Comcast is in control of. So I think TV One is one of them. But I get them with cable. They down here.
You talking about Viacom?
Yeah, Viacom. Yeah, I said it's Viacom. I said it wrong. You're right. Yeah, it's Viacom.
Yeah, well,
I think. I said I think. I don't know for sure, but I said I think. But I know with the channels, TV One is linked up with Fuse and MTV. It's right around them channels as far as the numbering go. They all together.
I'm gonna look them up. I don't see them as being black owned.
Well, I just put out the majority of it is black people own a lot, but it's not as much as people think as it's led to believe. Now, I will say though that Roland Martin do look out for black issues. Now that you cannot take that away from Roland Martin. And I would not try to ever take that away from that man. He do focus on black issues. Now he's very partisan. Now that's real. He's very partisan though. He's a Democratic, and they listen the whole show really. They are Democratic from hell. Put it like that. They Democratic, but as far as black issues, that's the only news news show that I see that constantly focus on black issues every day. Now I cannot take that away from them, and I will never try to take that away from them.
No, I agree. That's all I have to say.
Jason, you here, bro?
Peace. Yeah, I'm on the way home, so if you can't hear me, bad, but yeah, I didn't hear, man. I've been listening, enjoying the show. Man. Man, look, it's time for a change, man. Like, how many more posts do we got to see of them killing our people? How many posts do we got to keep seeing? Kids up. How many times do we got to keep seeing these videos? How many more times do we got to keep seeing this, waking up that something happened somewhere in a black neighborhood or to a black child or a black woman? When are we gonna stop seeing this? When are we gonna stop seeing our black leaders being patronized and saying that they're not doing this and being like how much more? Are we gonna? How many more videos I gotta see? How many more? You know what I'm saying? Harass.
Hey, you breaking up?
Right.
You breaking up? You breaking up? You real choppy, man. Think you might be going through a bad.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. We hear you now.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah, you're going through a bad area, man. You're going through a bad area. So with that being said, we want to thank everybody for watching the show. And what I'm gonna do for everybody who have watched it to the end, who sat here and listened to my gibberish and my mispronunciation of words and everything, I'm gonna let y'all see some that we got coming out. For NCRBG. I'm gonna share my screen again and let y'all see this. I thank y'all for watching. We thank y'all for coming here with us on Thursdays, and you know, and just sitting here looking at us, man, and listening to us, and yeah, we had to pay the bills, man. Had to throw that quick commercial in there. So we want we throw that quick commercial in there. But again, y'all, we thank everybody for watching. Peace, Black Power. We'll see y'all again next Thursday. If y'all like the show, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you want to say, leave us a comment. It's something that we said that didn't make sense. Leave us a comment. Hit us up. You know, peace and Black Panther family. We love y'all. Black Power.